Hey, I'm Zach.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Brent.
You're watching
Talking Mars on Now You Know.
Welcome everybody to episode 3 of Talking Mars.
Yeah.
We are back hot off of watching episode 3. There was no blood in this episode.
Well,
Almost.
there was blood in the trailer.
The intro.
Oh, well, yeah,
we
well,
were
that didn't
previously
count.
on.
We were about to chow down on some nice food
And we saw bread.
it's not
A few things to remember when you go to Mars: bring a lot of cable.
Bring a lot of cable.
Right, rope is important.
Yep.
Cordage.
I do want to point out that I called it like a split second before the drones took off. I said, "Can drones fly on Mars?"
Yeah.
And then they flew on
They
Mars.
released
And
the
then they literally
drone
showed-
squadron.
Yeah.
Literally right after you said that.
Yeah. Launch the drones one at a time, though. Okay.
Yeah.
True.
Alright, so let's
get into it.
let's get into it. Let's
Yeah.
get down to the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
Brass tacks.
Don't put the crew member down the cable who is
The quietest.
who does. I see something. Just give me a
She's
minute.
talking
And
like
it's
she's
in-
Bjork or something.
And is non-responsive like 50% of the time.
Put the most talkative crew member
Yeah.
down that cable.
Oh, it's still dark in here. It's still dark. Oh, there's a floor. Oh, I almost fell.
What do you see? What do you see?
Right.
Respond! Are you alive?
Also, drop the glow sticks first.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, is that
Yeah.
cliche or does that make a lot of sense?
I mean, the drop, the second drop where she did drop the glow stick seemed further than the first one. So, I mean, it worked. I
Right.
mean, you could see
And then
it
she could have
that far
seen, they
Right.
they could have been dropping her in the wrong place or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
down. Hmm.
And the whole thing hinged on glow in the dark sticks. Like
Yeah.
the whole mission.
Tech.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
It's true.
If she hadn't had the glow stick, she wouldn't have seen the ice. They would have said abort.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
they had pretty lame flashlights on their
Yeah.
on their helmets. Let's be real. They should be like the coolest
It should be
space.
equipped with like, Model X style head.
Yeah.
Right,
lights
you
on
should
it.
be able to
Those.
see at least.
Like some LEDs.
Why does it get so?
The lights we have are probably brighter than this.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
did they even need the big crane thing to lower her down? They just needed a cable, right? Why did we
Yeah.
need a big... So they had a giant crane
Yeah,
truck?
they flew
Yeah,
that
right.
to Mars.
How'd they get the crane truck?
That seemed to.
Also, okay, so this is what I was gonna say. So, the fact that they had to find the volcano tubes while they were
Tubes.
already there,
right. It
Like
does seem
they
dumb.
had 16 years. I mean, jumping back to now, we already know that we need to have the lava
Right.
tubes. Why wouldn't we already have?
Yeah, why
done
weren't they prepping
Yes,
for
find the
this?
lava tube first.
Yes.
Right.
Then
Send,
land your community around the lava tube.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, you
send a rocket that has drones. They fly. They find the tubes. Then you send your lava tube drone. It goes and explores the lava tube for
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
you know
Instead
what
of
you're
having to do
getting
that
into.
thing, then
Elon, see? Hire us. We got it all figured
It's
out.
all
You know.
figured out.
Yeah.
It's. I mean.
Yeah, you would think that's like they had like the whole base that they were supposed to go to begin with. You think they would have established that somewhere
It's-
near where they needed to go.
It's
Right.
like they were on a really bad Skype call with like a real, the real scientists, all the
Yeah.
writers, and they were like, "Oh, it needs to be in a
What was that?
a lava tube? Okay, gotcha." You know,
Put that in the script.
and then you're gonna want drones to find drones. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yep, we got drones we love to.
Send the drones before you go on the trip. What? Oh, didn't hear that
Before?
part. Keep moving.
now, how do you guys feel like? What's the name of it? Hannah.
Hannah?
How do you guys feel like
Yeah.
she dealt with the fire situation? Because that was a very interesting scene, I thought.
It was. I mean, I think it was great that she was badass enough to be like, you know what, everyone else is just running out of here. I'm going to go in there and take care of the problem.
Yeah.
But...
She kind of put herself in danger,
Yes.
and there goes another
Maybe?
captain if she died, you know.
Yeah, that would have been
Pretty
ridiculous if we lost 2 captains
What
in 2
did she
episodes.
scored the window with something?
With like a
laser?
laser or something. Some
Yeah.
kind of.
It must have been some sort of laser, I would
And
think.
then
'Cause
she
it cut through
only
pretty
had
easily.
enough energy to
Yeah,
hit
that was weird. I mean,
Three
I would have
times.
broken that window in 2. I mean,
It looked easier.
It
It
looked
looked easier. And also, it's like, I mean, come on, you don't have any fire extinguishers in space,
Right.
like.
Oh, well, did you hear, like, warning, fire extinguisher system is malfunctioning?
Yeah.
Then have a
Things.
fire extinguisher
There's
for backup.
so
like,
many
you don't need a.
malfunctioning.
Well, it is the Russian...
things.
Blame the Russians.
It is the Russian.
It's-
But then that
Putin's
brings up
fault.
another good question: is why aren't they at their own base? Because
Yes.
they could get to the lava tube.
Yes.
God knows how far away that could have been.
I mean, how
Right.
far off course were they when they originally landed with those?
73
76
kilometers.
Right.
And then it doesn't seem like this place is that far from
From
where
the
the
next
actual
one.
base
I
is.
think it
I mean, I don't know what
they
the
were, like,
physical
halfway
terrain
there.
is in between. Maybe there's some sort of physical
And
terrain
why-
obstacle, but it seems like they could get there.
Yeah, it does.
Why did they put the Russian 3D lab so far from any other thing they would need?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like that they. I don't know.
And also, there's a rover 16 kilometers away. Am I correct with the broken axle? That
No, they
left?
fixed it.
They fix it?
They
That's
fixed
how they
it.
got to the lava tube.
Okay, so they've got a rover.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
why
why they
aren't
brought the giant crane there.
Oh, so why aren't they taking the rover and driving to wherever else they need to
Right.
go?
Well, yeah,
or
right.
go back to the spaceship and get supplies, or I don't know, like
Right.
It's
It's
just so
dataless.
vanilla
Oh.
to me. I think
Hmm.
it's like they had two different crews. One that was like talking to all the scientists, and the other crew that was like, "So how to make this so dramatic?
Yeah.
Drama.
Hmm.
It's a drama. You know, it's just like
I also thought it was a little unrealistic that the two guys would get into like
such an
close
altercation.
to fisticuffs
Right.
over.
You're on
Over an
Mars.
accident.
Right, you left the cover off the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
These
And
are
that's
not these people that they are on this mission.
Right.
These astronauts.
Yeah.
They're acting like just how you and I would act
Right.
in these
Right.
situations.
I mean, I get tensions would be running high and stuff, but that felt so kind of
Mhm.
like NBC drama level
Yeah.
Right.
of
I
like
mean-
conflict. You
And
know.
they're supposed to be the top astronauts.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
spent 7 months together on the, I mean, they would be buddies, I would
And if
think.
you've ever heard astronauts talking to each other, they're just like, "How you doing there, Joel? Oh, good." You know, they're not
And
like
they're helping each other.
right.
Yeah, they're not like,
it's- they should be more happy. They're on Mars.
And
This isn't a stranded
they're-
on islands.
They're
This
treating
is
each
all they've ever wanted in their lives.
right.
They should have already
Well, I
accepted
mean,
that they're going to
I-
die on Mars.
Right, but I mean, it's still a high. Still a high stress situation when
True.
when you're actually at the point where you're facing like the imminent possibility of your own
Yeah.
death. So I can see tensions a little bit,
But we don't know how long
it
he's
just
been there.
felt
It would
like
make sense if we knew if they're
yeah,
there.
that's
Yeah.
another.
What-
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, there's never, it said like day 26 or something. We don't
Yeah.
know if they've been there for a week or 6 months.
As far
or
as we know,
year.
they've been there for like a day and they're
Yeah, if
already
it
at
was
the
a day
point.
and they were that much tension, I'd be like, okay, guys, like, calm
Bring it back
down.
a
Maybe
little
we should
bit.
have sent some
Yeah.
other astronauts.
But still, like, you're on Mars the whole time. You would be like, "Hey, guess what? You know what? I
Yeah.
found this rock. It's
Yeah.
on Mars."
Right.
And you'd be like, "Oh yeah,
Sure.
we're on Mars."
I'm the
That's
first
sick."
person to pee on Mars.
Yeah,
they haven't really done that
There,
yet.
there
Right.
has to have been some decent amount
They'd
of
be
time
like,
that's gone by
"Hey,
for it to get to this
first
point.
high five on
They just
Mars."
haven't told us, you know.
Right.
They
They should have told
This show has done that a lot in the dramatic parts of it, where they kind of
sped up.
glaze
Mhm.
over, or just really go over a lot of important details that like we don't know, and so we're like, why are these people acting like this? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Here's one of the things.
Yeah.
How did they all get down into the hab module?
Mhm.
The crane is up at the top.
They belayed down.
I mean, maybe, but
How do
it's
you
like,
get back up?
How did
right.
they get down?
It's like
No, because they need to find a place where they could go through the tube vertically or something, and,
horizontally.
and then dig through.
They're going to clear it when the
They're
next
going to connect it
thing
with the
lands.
next
But they all
mission
mission
that wasn't
lands.
this yet, so
Yeah.
they did have to lower themselves down into
Right.
it.
Right.
I don't know.
I guess
how
you could lower one person down at a time, and then one person stays up at the top to bring them back up.
Right.
So you bring your.
But
crew-
how do you get up when you need to leave?
You climb, you push a remote
I
button.
mean, it might be remote control, but it still is like
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
trust
I'm
it.
saying one person stays back up, to operate it. Would that
maybe,
be
but then
enough?
they're getting radiation.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, you gotta get
Even inside the rover,
Yeah,
there's no
I think
protection
so.
from that. Okay,
I
fair
mean, you
enough.
need a lot of.
Well, that's why they couldn't stay on the surface at
Right.
all.
True.
And I mean, they're not going to live up there on the top of the hole,
Right.
They're living down there now, right? That's their home now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
So-
basically at this
Yeah.
point. Yep.
So they can't.
They found their ice.
Yeah. So it's like
No.
when they want to leave, what do they do?
Food.
Food.
Yeah.
I was questioning that the whole time. They're like, we only have 8 months. It's like 8 months of food takes up a lot of space. I think. Where
I
was
think I
that?
read online that they have McDonald's.
A lot of freeze dried ice
Yeah.
cream.
Yeah.
That's what astronauts eat.
No, but
Usually
they don't explain the
actually
food.
eat that.
No,
No.
that's just something I ate when I went to the science museum or
Right.
something.
It's just something that they
delicious.
found sold really well.
It tastes good. I don't blame them. yeah, of course. It's
But yeah,
so
they
well.
haven't really explained the whole what do they eat. They haven't even showed them eating once.
They alluded to it at the very end where he had a little
The plant,
seedling,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
so, but to get that seedling to grow, you need to have electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they're down in the cave, do
Did they have a big cable?
Yeah, how do they bring the power from the solar panels down there? Did they drop
Yeah.
some? I mean,
Yeah.
they only had 200 meters of cable to get down there,
Right.
so
And
it
they
seems
acted
like,
like it was a real big deal.
right.
Yeah.
They had to splice things together.
Maybe
That's another question. You knew you were going to have to go into volcano tubes. but you only brought 50 meters of cable.
Right.
What?
Lame.
Yeah, I know.
Very lame.
I'm telling you, bad planning.
Yeah, this whole movie is, and it seems like they're not very quick on their feet too. Like we were talking last week about The Martian and how much better that movie was at like showing that he was an actual scientist,
Right.
and he was good at like coming up with things on the spot. I don't really see any science coming from these people. Like,
No, you're
like
absolutely right.
fire, crack hole through window.
Right,
Like,
run,
it
run.
seems very simple.
Right. Very
I don't know.
simplified.
And I mean, so she could have gotten hurt so many different ways. And
Yes.
then if she was hurt, the mission's over. Like if anything goes wrong, any little thing, pretty much they kept saying mission over, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So let's just say this now, Elon. When you plan, assume the first 8 people are gonna all die.
Yeah.
Don't make that hinge like.
Maybe
Don't make the,
stagger 2 shifts. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like one that's like
Tell
6 months
everyone.
behind them,
Right,
just
right.
for like when the first one goes
Yeah,
Make
wrong.
the first news article paper just be like 8 men go walk to their death,
Right.
so that no one goes like, oh, we gotta take our funding back.
Just
We
do
can't
it in
let this
secret. Maybe he's already doing this.
maybe.
Probably.
If he was
Yeah.
smart,
Smart.
he'd already be doing it.
Because then the press would be, oh, colony's ready. Come on down.
Right.
So
funny.
I mean, but that you brought up a good point. Like you can't be like her in their situation right now. They can't be showing that they're dying or having any danger. So why is this girl going to the edge of like a 50-yard drop, just like looking over like?
But why was she walking backwards without? I mean,
without
knowing
being clipped
where
into
she's
anything.
going.
why did she unclip
That's
at
not
all?
how
Yeah.
spelunking works.
She only walked like 10 feet. Why did she stay clipped?
I don't know.
Because again, if she fell to her death, end of mission.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
I also like how the rope was exactly the amount of
Right.
distance from the.
a little too. Come on, Ron.
It's like-
Howard. A little too Hollywood, please.
Right. It feels very Hollywood, as if there was like more plot around this, and this was the sciencey bit of the thing where they're like, to go down the hole, and then it was gonna
Right.
be like they'd talk to the aliens or something. But there's no other plot. It's just like, there's a huge crisis. Oh no!
Yeah.
It gets resolved,
Yeah.
or something
It's-
bad
yeah.
happens, and then oh no, there's another huge crisis.
Very
And
black and white.
Right.
It's just like, enough with the crises. Like,
yeah, seriously.
Well, hopefully, it seems like now that they've established their base, that maybe we're gonna get past some of that. Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Maybe
it,
we're gonna
it
get to
seems
some
to
more
be.
interesting stuff of like what
Yeah.
actually happens once you establish a base on Mars.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I-
it feels
I-
like it.
I'm wondering
Yeah,
if
fingers
when,
crossed.
when you send your first crew to Mars, there's going to be, the cutoff from the world, right? Wouldn't they be doing broadcasts back to Earth, telling them like what's going on? Why wouldn't school kids be involved in talking to the astronauts and
Right.
sharing science with them?
right. Because I
Right.
mean, on pretty much every NASA mission, there is tons of like, hi, we're from Oklahoma, and I have a question about space. What happens with zero gravity when
Right.
you don't have?
Yeah, and we have a
always-
delay of 10 minutes. I
Right.
mean, we can do it, and they've
Right, it
shown
wouldn't
that.
be that bad.
And that would
so-
help us to learn. Like they
Yeah.
could, they could get through some concepts to us, the audience.
Like, where is the world in this documentary?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And
like they're just this little
Right.
bubble.
Yeah.
In The Martian, at least we had the sense that the world was watching him and praying for him and everything. And that felt good. And here it's just kind of like we don't know what the Earth is thinking.
Right.
All we know is that these corporations are like, we're going to pull out.
Right.
We're going to lose profits.
It seems like everyone's like, they're gonna die, they're doomed, get it out of there,
Right.
like, we're done.
Well, and another thing though is I don't think any of these characters would be good at talking to school children.
Agreed.
Because I mean, most astronauts.
think I
can
talk to school kids.
It's like, but like usually it's
Robert!
they're like
you're too aggressive.
Shut up and sit down. Listen to me.
I'll tell you how gravity works.
Lavender. What gets you through the day? Lavender. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm getting very caught up again. Give me my lavender.
it's yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
what was that all about?
The
I mean,
lavender thing?
again, like, her job is to calm guys down? They're getting upset about things? That
I don't
took
understand.
too long, too.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, oh my god, you're cutting into my science time with lavender.
Yeah, I feel like I prefer the 2016 portion of the show.
I know,
As
I was
opposed to
looking
the
forward to it.
2030s.
I know, because I was like, ooh, we're going to Kazakhstan. Like,
We're learning
that
real
was
things.
really cool to see a rock. And here's the news media, okay? We launched this rocket in March of 2016, which
Right.
is going to the ExoMars project
Right.
to take pictures, amazing, stunning, the best cameras ever developed.
Yeah,
you know,
stereo pictures,
right.
saying 3-dimensional.
And
imaging.
did
Really cool
you
stuff.
guys hear about any of this?
No,
No
First
idea.
time I saw him was during this documentary. If
Yep.
that was even them.
And I pay attention to science
Right.
news.
Yeah.
It's like
So what the hell,
Must
people?
try to cover it up.
This is great stories. I mean, you want people to get involved in science and in astronomy and stuff. This is how to do it.
Yeah.
Send
Right,
some film crews to
exactly.
Kazakhstan show us the scientists that are working on this. That's great, awesome news.
Is it that most people wouldn't be interested unless there was the drama part? I think we
Well,
talked
you
about
look
this
at
last
the
week, but
the websites that are like, "Ooh, did you know the Earth is going to be in the dark for 2 straight days this winter?" And it happens every year, and it always gets a billion shares on Facebook, and it's always fake. So it's like people care about space as long as it's what they want to hear.
right.
But I don't think people are interested in the real facts, the real science.
I
Which
think
is kind of
it's
sad.
I think it's like the Olympics. I mean, when they do the Olympics and they tell the story of the Olympian, and
Right.
then you get caught up in it, like, oh, I want to see how they do. If they told the story well, like they're doing
Yeah,
here,
it's like I know what Bobby's saying, but I think if you do it the right way, like we saw like what 20 seconds, 10 seconds of that 3-dimensional imaging from the
Yeah.
satellite, and that was amazing.
Yes.
It was
Like I was like, oh my god, I want to see more of that. Why
Right.
haven't I
It
seen
was-
that
it's
before?
so
That's all it took
wacky.
was like
Yeah.
10 seconds. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy crap, why aren't we seeing more of this
Right.
all the
It's
time?
just so.
It's so cool.
I mean, the guy was saying that he's just like every day he's just like, wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I mean, it is like
People need to see it, but they
Mhm.
don't. I don't think that they think that people want to see it.
right.
It's like come on.
Here's I think where we could use it. You know when I've noticed this on a lot of like newer TVs and stuff. When it's not showing anything, instead of like going to black or blue,
Yeah.
it like just shows like a nice picture.
Right.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
should just show
Newspapers.
only space.
Yeah.
It should just
Yeah,
be like,
absolutely.
this picture was taken from orbit
Yeah.
of
Yes.
Mars.
Mhm.
And with like little fun facts and stuff too,
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
go with
yeah,
it,
yeah.
that'd be
I
awesome.
mean, if
Find the
NASA
vacuum
really
tubes.
wanted, because I find myself looking at those pictures more than I,
Mhm.
find myself actually doing other things.
Also, amazing when the scientists from the ExoMars project said that they have only taken pictures of 3% of the Mars
That's
surface.
crazy.
detailed photographs. Because basically, so the rest of it they've scanned, but it's only
Large
100
resolution
meter per
per
pixel.
Yeah.
100 meter per pixel.
Right.
Think about that. I mean, a
That's
pixel is
tiny.
like how small and how big's a meter?
Right.
Like, think about that. That's
That means
crazy.
if you zoom into it, you don't see anything else.
You
There's
just
no
see
zoom in
blocks
and
of color. Yeah.
My whole yard is basically one color, in the scale of that camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or more, yeah.
And
More.
your house too.
My
Right.
house.
That's a
Yes.
football field.
The whole
Right.
lot. The whole
Right.
property.
It could have a
That's-
hole
that's
in
3
it.
football fields.
There could be a
actually.
guy waving. I mean, there could be anything.
Right.
You would have no idea.
You have no idea.
Right.
It's
There could be
crazy.
Martians.
Yeah, right?
For all we know.
And I mean, and this does kind of fit in with Bobby's question. So during the episode, Bobby was like, "Why haven't we colonized the moon, the Earth's moon?"
Right.
And
Yeah.
like, why haven't we? Because that would be a great. First of all, you need to practice, don't you? And so this would allow us to practice all the things that we'll need to do on Mars.
On a place
You know,
that's 10 times
this-
worse.
Well, yeah. I mean, in some cases it's worse, and in also cases it's better because it's closer. We could actually send a rescue mission easier. We could get the
Right.
supplies easier.
Yeah.
So I mean, wouldn't it be smart to? Jesse's looking like we already have a colony there. Do you know something?
No.
Jesse's like,
It's on the dark side.
Let's
Nazi base.
No, there's a couple of difficulties with the moon, and one is the resources. The Mars has water on it. The moon does not.
has cheese.
is.
I remember the Wallace and Gromit episode, but I mean that's inaccurate.
There's
not
no
made of
cheese.
There's no cheese on.
But they've disproven that.
So don't.
Yeah, but still, you still have to build things and have astronauts work together. And I think wouldn't that be a great kind of sandbox to do it in? You don't seem excited about it
I
at
think
all.
that it would
Like,
be
how about if we had
interesting.
an extinction event on Earth? Wouldn't the moon be good enough to keep the?
It wouldn't be self-sustaining, most likely. You'd have to send a ton of material up there, mostly water and.
I know, but you could. After Earth had been wiped out by the extinction event, you could send stuff back to Earth to pick up supplies, couldn't you? Like come back and pick up some giraffes.
And how many days does it take?
But I mean,
to get
okay,
to
but
the moon?
listen,
Right.
like.
Yeah, you
well, like,
get to the moon in
is
a
it
couple
like
days, right?
It's
7
not
days or
like
something?
this isn't like No Man's Sky where you can just like land and take off from anywhere. Like you need to either land on a working launch pad with working fuel still working and everying's still working
Yeah.
and there's
But
people
it's so
on the ground.
close.
It's
It would be interesting if we could just get
it's
something
not
going up there, you know?
that close.
I don't know. I feel like
Doesn't
you're
matter.
just dismissing this idea.
I'm not
of
dismissing
hand.
it. I'm
I
saying
think
like
it's just right there. The moon is so close.
Yeah.
It's not 7 months, 7 years. How long was it?
Uh,
It's
six, 7
8 months.
6, 7 months away.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just a few days away. It's like, oh guys, I forgot my jacket. Can you bring that when you come up? Okay. Like that's what it's like.
It would at
true,
least
but I
be an
think in
interesting
terms
place.
of cost, it would be.
But you don't have to fly that much fuel or anything, do you? Or you still have to get out of Earth's gravity.
This probably takes a lot of fuel.
I don't know. Comment below if you agree with Jesse or me.
If anyone is a scientist and knows the answers to these
Or even if you're not a
questions,
scientist,
Even if
you don't have to be a scientist.
you play a scientist
Come
on
on.
television.
Right.
Tell us.
This is like armchair quarterbacking. It's like, we can all be
Yes.
scientists.
But I thought what was interesting was that I don't know his name, but the guy who's funding sort of the Mars mission, he's the billionaire,
Right.
sort of our Elon Musk figure.
Yes, he was very Elon Musk-ish.
He mentioned that thing about like, oh, I don't want this to be like the moon. I don't know if it was him or if that was someone else.
Well, he said that,
He doesn't want it to be forgotten. Like
Right,
the
yeah,
moon was.
like the
Yeah.
moon was, and it's like
Why
I
did
think
we
that's an
forget
interesting
about the moon?
thing. Like,
Mhm.
like I think sort of the momentum sort of dropped, the excitement ended, and what the last thing we want is for that to happen to Mars.
But I think that's a human tendency. I mean, as soon as we're done with the water bucket challenge, the ice bucket challenge,
Yeah.
we're done with that. Like, we're not doing that again. Are we?
No.
No.
Yeah.
So,
It ends.
like, we're done with that. Except it was awesomely successful, so
Yeah.
why not do it again? That's because we're humans. We're just tired. It's like, oh, we already did that. That's
Yeah.
so.
What's the next thing? The next
And I
thing.
think the Mars, and I think Moon, same thing. It's like, Moon, haven't we done that? So, but is that what's going to happen with Mars? Like, we're going to set up a colony and they're like, oh my god, Mars. And then,
It's just gonna be
Move
this
on.
tiny colony.
I
like-
think that the allure of it is that you could make it self-sustaining with fewer resources than, say, the moon. But that's not why we forgot about the moon. That was the whole cultural
Why-
and
why did we forget about the Moon?
administration shift and stuff like that. It was
But we
all-
never went back to it. Like, that's so weird.
Right.
We haven't been
Yeah.
back since the 70s.
Yeah, I
Stop
couldn't
seeing
tell you the
value in it,
real
yeah.
reason.
We even
Well,
like
it is more practical to go to
some of the
Mars.
astronauts, like astronaut number 20 and stuff, that went to the moon. People don't know his name, and people don't care. They were still doing science, though.
Most people don't know the first person who's in space. Who's the first person in space?
Gagarin.
I don't know.
What point was that?
But like most people don't know that just because he's Russian. But he was the first person in space, and most people don't know that. I don't know. I think that NASA and scientists have always had this problem with trying to relay something that is very complex and very involved into something that the layman can understand.
And I think that Tesla and Elon Musk has the same problem too. Like, he's a great person, and he's not the greatest spokesperson. Like, we all love him. We all love to hear him speak.
Mhm.
But when you first hear him speak, the first few times, until you learn his personality and stuff, you think that like he's having difficulty getting his point across.
Right.
Because you have to really kind of stick with him.
Yeah.
Whereas if they had like Robert Downey Jr. get up there, like everyone would just be like,
Charisma.
oh my
That's
god.
true.
It's Tony Stark.
Yeah, and so I kind of
Yeah.
feel like we need to marry the two. We need to have scientists like pick some really good celebrities that know how to speak to the world.
Bill Nye.
Yeah,
He needs
Bill.
a
I mean,
box
that's
of
why do we
scientists.
all remember Bill Nye? Because he was
He
an
was
Yeah,
entertainer.
DeGrasse Tyson, yeah.
Yeah.
These guys.
Neil
Right.
deGrasse, he's great. Yeah.
I mean, they're
They're
very
rare.
important, but I mean, it's hard because they get stuck in a niche of like, oh, he's a science guy.
Right.
And then so if I'm not interested in that, I see no reason of listening to him when, it's, I don't know, to me it's very fulfilling to learn about what they have to say, and I don't know.
I think it's also because science has been really watered down in the educational curriculum. So by the time you get to a thinking brain when you're in your teens and stuff, and you're really able to start grasping onto concepts, science is not that interesting because you don't think of science as a fun,
No.
interesting
It's
question.
a lot of memorization.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of just horrible
I
memorization.
mean,
Right.
honestly, a lot of school in general is just that. A lot of memorization and test taking,
Yeah.
which is not a real way for real active
No.
learning.
When
Right.
I was
know?
in elementary school, I was so into science. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I
Mhm.
read science books in my own time, and got to a point where it was just starting to become about classification of
Yes.
different animals, and
Mhm.
like it was like, all right, like I kind of lost interest along the way.
Right.
And never really picked it up again until like my 20s now, and
It should be.
It's sad.
It should be about exploration and experimentation. It should be,
Yeah.
they teach the scientific method, but it should be using the scientific method
Right.
in a creative way instead
Yes.
of
Yeah.
instead of being told like, here is the scientific method test that you will be doing today.
yeah.
Yeah.
You will take a potato and then you will cut it in half and put, it's just like, okay.
You'll find
I
the
mean,
composition.
then you will find that you can generate electricity through this thing. It's like, great, but I mean, I didn't figure that out, so there's no excitement there.
Exactly. It should
Right.
be that
Yeah.
you put a group of kids together, and
Right.
they have to figure things out, solve problems
Right, because
together.
with something like that, it's like, what does this even mean when you're done with it? It's like, okay,
Right.
so
If
electricity
you just
happens.
follow the just
So?
follow
Yeah.
Okay,
the steps,
what is
that's
what
not
is this?
science.
What am I learning from
Science
this?
is saying,
Electricity happens
hey,
from a
I
thing?
have a
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah, and I do think that it's really sad that we've gotten to the point in education where kids are so just waiting for the answer that if they don't get the answer, then they think that the system has failed them.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I don't have the answer, you guys go figure it out.
Yeah.
Because
Completely agree.
that creates a whole bunch of cool things. First of all, that creates a bunch of people who can communicate with each other and work together. We have kids now growing up who cannot work together, and
Right.
they can't. It's just like, oh, Jesse did all the work, I didn't do anything.
Right.
Mhm.
And
as
how
soon
many
as-
groups do you remember in
As
school where
soon
that
as
was?
you split up into a group project, you just size everyone up. You're like, he's going to do most of the work. He's not going to show up.
Mhm.
You know, me and him will do one thing together, and you know that we'll say that we did enough work, and bada bing, bada boom.
That's it.
That's it. Wrap that
It's a
up.
formula.
Right.
And the kid who works really hard wants to get a good grade, so that's why he works really hard. The kids who want to just get along, and the kid who doesn't do anything, you know, either they rat him out or
And then that continues through life. Then you see those
Right.
same dichotomy. That same thing happens throughout life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I mean that's why I think we're at the point now where we don't even know about these rocket launches. It all
Yeah.
comes back around. It's like, and then it's a catch-22 because then the network executives are like, well, should we do more science? Nah, Americans aren't interested in that. Let's
Yeah.
do more Kardashians. So, yeah,
Ugh.
But hey, they found ice.
they did.
Yeah.
find ice.
Built their capsule. They finally did something positive. So
Yes.
that's great.
It did take 3 episodes.
Something
Yes.
other than dying, crashing, and breaking down.
Bleeding. And
Maybe we'll have some success in some of the next coming episodes.
Yeah.
You know.
It seems like they're moving at a faster pace than I had
Yeah, it seems like we're
anticipated.
going
I
to jump
know.
ahead of it,
So I
which
think
is nice.
that maybe we're gonna. Do you think we're gonna see full colonization?
at the end of this episode, I kind of foresaw that might happen.
Yeah.
Until now, I didn't think it would.
Like, do
Yeah.
you think at the end there's gonna be a city on Mars? Because I would be so down with that.
Maybe a
Yes.
small city, but yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, I'm not interested enough in these characters. If these are the only characters we see for the
Yeah,
next,
I hope
like,
that they
yeah.
found some interesting characters.
I'd be more interested to see them on, like, say, a statue of some future city being like, these are our founders of Mars, the first explorers, and
Right.
and seeing them through the past, as in, like, in this new way. I really
Yeah.
don't care about what they're doing now.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
just haven't done enough to make us care about any of these people,
Yeah,
and they're
right.
not really doing them very much favors in the
No.
writing either, because it's every episode's just them like nearly
Oh,
failing.
no.
I know.
They're not very
Constantly.
noble
We
people,
haven't like
right?
gone to learn like
And
why
all
these
the
you should care about
backstory-
these people and why these people are good at their jobs. It's just
Right.
constantly
Yeah.
things failing.
Why
and
are
them
they
just
in
trying not to die?
Mars.
So
And
I
all
don't
the
know.
backstory is just like, I was inspired to go to space by my father. I was inspired to go to space with my sister. We were at a planetarium. It's like,
Right.
oh, how quaint. Like,
Right.
tell me a cool story.
I
Like,
looked up at the stars one day and I wanted.
I mean,
wanted
no
to be up
one-
there.
You don't really know the whole. You don't remember back to a specific point in your
Right.
life
Right.
where you're just like, oh, and that's when I decided. Like, it's very. You rarely have those moments about anything.
right.
It's like, and
Yeah.
that's when I decided I want Chinese food.
Yep.
Like, you just sort of had a feeling up to it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're going to Mars or you're,
Yeah.
choosing what you want for lunch. It's always.
Yeah.
And if they don't show why these people are qualified in the next 2 episodes, I'm gonna be so mad. 'Cause, like, I do not get why.
Maybe they're lowering the bar so that everyone will be like, hey,
Oh,
shit, I can go to Mars.
I could do better than
Yeah.
that.
Right, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, I don't
mean,
know.
I feel like I could do it now, actually.
Yeah,
I could,
honestly.
I
It's
could probably keep
pretty
my
simple.
calm for a few months.
Yeah.
Before I lost it on Brent.
God
damn it, you got the cover off again!
Do you think they're trying to frustrate the viewers? Do you think that's like their goal? Because it's definitely what's happening.
I feel like they're like, because it's this docudrama thing, they're like not enough of one or the other right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's not enough documentary or not quite enough
Mhm.
like real
Not good
drama,
enough.
you know.
Yeah.
Not good enough drama, not quite enough science.
Yeah.
So hopefully they find a better balance in the next coming episodes.
Hope so.
And comment below if you know why the ExoMars scientist had a black eye. Because
Yeah,
did he get in a
interesting.
fight with a
Yeah.
Russian? Or-
One scene he didn't have a black eye,
Yeah,
and all of a
next scene
sudden
he did.
He did.
That was, and it was like all in the launch pad scene, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
almost like he turned to some guy and was like, that sucked.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Best comment gets a thumbs up from my personal YouTube channel.
Wow.
Wow.
Whoa! Oh my gosh.
Woof.
That's
All
it.
right.
Big
Thank you
stakes.
for
I
watching.
didn't need to say that.
No, that's getting cut. That's we're chopping.
All right, thank you for watching this episode of Talking Mars. We hope you really enjoyed it. Please subscribe down below to catch more episodes of Talking Mars. And also check out other videos on our website that we've worked so hard to create. We think that you'll like them.
Absolutely.
All right.
We know you like them.
Yeah. If you like Mars, then you're gonna like this other stuff.
Yeah.
It's all.
And if you don't like Mars, you'll probably also like our stuff
you
too.
know,
This stuff
You're
about
just gonna
banana
like it.
ice cream.
Yeah.
I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
banana ice cream.
Yeah.
Come
Come
on.
on.
Check that one out.
yeah.
Also support us on Patreon because we need money to get to Mars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're saving our own little fun too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Bye.
Oh no!
What is it, Brent?
Oh, I think it must be my spleen.
Oh no! To save Brent's life, you must subscribe.
Deep burn.
Subscribe below.
Oh, it's so
Quickly, help him. Subscribe.
Spleen is bleeding.
Let's get our subscribe numbers up.
definitely bleeding.
Quick, get the subscribe numbers up. Subscribe.